and myself, we're going to split this meeting into two parts. I'm going to talk to you about the situation at the moment and what we see as a growing polarization of the art market. My job is to follow the art market, and obviously I'm seeing enormous changes that have happened, certainly in this century, perhaps going back a little bit more, but seem to be accelerating. And this polarization obviously also reflects the polarization of wealth in the wider world and in the economy, when you have a very strong top end. So can we have the first slide, please? So there is a growing inequality in the world as well, as we know, and particularly in the art market. One of the things that's interesting is the actual age of very, very rich people today, which is coming down radically. And this has had a huge boosting effect on the contemporary art market. I think it's a truism that young people don't want the art that their parents bought. So it's quite interesting to see the effect this has had on buying art, and it certainly had a huge impact on the contemporary art market. The other thing that we've seen, obviously, is the massive growth of wealth in the world. Forbes, which has been recording since about the 1980s, is at its highest level for billionaires. And also the global spread of wealth is new in the world today, and this is impacting on the art market as well. Billionaires come from 58 countries today, including countries like Belize or St. Kitts and Nevis. These people wield an enormous amount of money. So we've established, and I think anecdotally we all know, that the top of the market is very strong, but the middle market is not so strong. What we're seeing, these dazzling prices at the top are actually disguising a more weakness in the middle market. And if you look at the median prices, this is research done by Art Market Research, a website that looks at auction prices, which does not reflect the whole market, but reflects about half the market. Actually, those prices have fallen. To an extent, this also reflects that the recession and the economies are slowing. The actual size of the art market shrank by about 10% last year, based on auction figures. What's, I think, very sad for galleries is the disappearance of this middle tranche of people who used to be able to buy art, and they're squeezed. They're squeezed because taxes have gone up, incomes have not necessarily gone up. What they used to call the doctors and the lawyers, professional classes who could buy a work of art a couple of times a year, and this is having an impact on galleries. And there's also been a polarization of actually the artists, with a few branded artists who have also become very high priced. And there's a sort of globalization of taste as well. So billionaires around the world, if they want to buy art, they might well want to buy recognizable artists such as Murakami, Prince, Damien Hirst, sadly, or Jeff Koons. I think what has also had an effect of this definition of what is art is the fact that there's been a lot of investment in art. Art has become an asset class. There are art funds, there's a lot of interest in art as a speculative investment, which personally I think is really not a good idea and not what art should be about. So polarization of galleries, a few mega galleries. Polarization in the art fairs with the formation of groups such as Art Basel, which now has 3, Miami Beach, Hong Kong, Basel. Frieze, which now has London Frieze, 2 London Friezes, Frieze Masters, the traditional Frieze, and then also New York. And they also have a global reach, so again, globalization, which has had a huge effect on the art market. This is leading to difficulty for smaller galleries, actually financing it. Which fairs should they do? Where should they go? They need to globalize, but it takes them away from their home, takes them away from their gallery. And the other major problem for galleries today, and this is something that we must also talk about in September in Barcelona, is the encroachment of auction houses with their huge marketing machines, their they're able to promote their prices, advertise the prices they've made, and move into areas that used to be the dealer's area. So that's the situation. Globalization, enormous wealth, polarization, and a problem for galleries. And we hope that at Talking Galleries in Barcelona in September that we can address these problems.
And the first one is the relationship between artists and galleries. I was talking about it even yesterday to a collector again. And he was mentioning that the problem today is that the relation, artists don't have a commitment to their galleries anymore, and galleries don't have a commitment to their artists anymore. They're just happy to give them a show, to produce the pieces eventually. If it doesn't sell, it goes away. And then they will change artists, or they'll do another show, and so on and so on. At the other side, there is a real demand from the artists because they need support. And it is requiring from the galleries a big investment. I had another example from an emerging galleries. Her artist was asking her to find a residency in the Rex Academy in Amsterdam. So she was wondering, am I going to do this? Waste the time for it to find her a residency and so on? It's a lot of time, a lot of contact and so on. I said, yes, of course, if there is a long-term commitment. And there should be a mutual long-term commitment, because in the past it worked in a kind of a my word is my bond, but it doesn't work like this anymore, because the investment for the galleries are very big, and artists as well should be aware of that commitment. And so it should be reciprocal commitments. And I am personally always of the opinion that if you agree on something, put it on paper. So if you agree on a program for yourself, as a gallerist, or as yourself as an artist, you agree on what you want to do together for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then put it in writing. There's no problem with that. And the same, I take another example, because the big problem is what Georgina was mentioning. The mega galleries are there, and the mega galleries are looking for everything that sells fast. So everything which is popular will be swept out by the big galleries and put in danger the galleries at the lower level. So what's going on? How could it be made working? And it's so important, because if you don't have that capacity of developing an artist, breeding an artist, there will be no new artist coming out of quality. So this job is very important. And it's very important for the artist, it's very important for the galleries, and it's very important for me as the collector. So yes, there should be something done about it. If you want to be Gagosian that is able to show in Rome, New York, Beverly Hills, you need to be able to do the same. So why don't you make real cooperation for defending an artist, which is very important for your galleries. You can do a cooperation with a gallery like Jocelyn Wolf with the Labor Gallery in Mexico. They exchange their program for a while. It's good for the gallery in Mexico because it shows to these clients a new kind of work, new things, and it's good for the French galleries, good for the artists, it's good for everyone as a whole. Other examples of collaboration between public authorities and galleries. There is Latitude here in ARCO, which is doing a very good job for the Brazilian gallery. A support organization to support them how maybe to group together some transport and so on. Second example, the Kunstkoop in Holland, where it is possible to buy at credit. You can go forward. It is possible to buy at credit up to 7,000 euro. There is possible to buy for credit in Holland. It is guaranteed by the states, and the whole process is very well organized, so the gallery is safe. It gets its money, and you can so develop artists for 7,000 and less. Another example, in Belgium, we have what is called the International Visitors Program, is that there's a public organization who is inviting very senior people. And so they visit Belgium for four days, all paid, organized, transports, everything organized for them. And they meet the key people, galleries, collectors, museums, and so on. So they create relationship with the country, and so they have a better chance of being well represented in big events like Venice Biennale and so on. Yeah. Between gallerists and collectors, the same thing, there are different elements that could be developed. One of the big problems of young galleries is the production costs. There should be elements, you have an artist going to Venice Biennale, he needs 15,000 euro to finance a work that is being created. You can talk to your collectors and find an arrangement, put it in writing so that everybody agrees. It could be, okay, I'm financing this work, if I get an edition at a professional price and I get the commitment not to sell it back within 5 years, for example. And lastly, in the kind of grouping between artists, galleries, collectors, public institutions, there are the public institutions which I think are worth supporting and which have always something new, something edgy, something risky, and this is definitely worth supporting them. So there is something to be done to improve the situation at the lower level, but every part of the deal should be involved in this.